So here's a quick tutorial on how you can make a 2 by 2 column, not 2 by 2, just like 2 column with one image stretching to the edge, and this one would only be like the any percentage that you want. And it's quite easy to do, but you do need some understanding. So let me quickly show you. So if I go into my inspect, you could see, for example, this is an guidance. This is for a guide. You could see that this is 1500 pixels. And you could see that no matter what size I change it to, it stays like that. And if you're worried about like there's no space or this, because this one has like a 10 padding, and that's like easy to fix, so that's no issue. But you could see that no matter the size, it changes. And then once I make it smaller, you could see it gets into like top to bottom spacing like this from mobile. And let me show you the method that I used to do before we proceed. So for what I used to do in the past is this method. So let's say I add 2 columns, then I'll give like full width to this. Oh, never mind, I'll keep it box width, give it 1500 pixels. Now imagine this one is used for text, so let's keep it like some blue color. So imagine I added some text in here, and I'll give some like size for it. And what I used to do is, let's say this is like 40% and this one is 60%. Obviously I cannot add an image inside of it and then be like, oh, this needs to stretch at the end. So what I used to do is I used to go in my container, I used to go in my background, and I'm just showing this in case you want to use like this method for some reason. And let's say I add an image, any image like this. And what I used to do is make this, make the display size custom, make the position to like, well, first let's change the width to 60%, make the position to like top right like this, and then displays to be like no repeat. And that way maybe different image would help like this. And you could see this is what I used to do. Obviously the image is like not not good enough in height. So if you actually add like a good height, so you see it just covers it perfectly like this. And obviously if we like remove the padding, this is how it would look. And you could see that's one issue that happens, is that the image is not being at the center always. For example, if I would have done this instead, so if I would have just went and added an image, if I would have added an image and made this full width, you could see that the image at least stays full. If I do like 100%, you could see that the image at least stays full. Obviously there's like default padding that we can remove, and you could see in this one it goes on top. But the issue in second one is that it's not being at the box layout, the left layout. So here's what I used to do to fix that. I used to just add an image inside of this, which would be the same image, and like and go into advanced, go into responsive, and then hide this on desktop. So for desktop I would be using this image, but it would not be perfect. You can see, because you see it's going on top right, because that's what we have set, rather than the full image. But for the mobile or tablet version, I would go in here, make this top to bottom. You could see this is the background image. So if I, let's say, remove this one, you could see that this is the background image. If I just go in, just in case, I'll just copy this. Okay. I'll make this, let's say, 100%, because I want it to be like top to bottom. You could see the issue that's happening, right? Even if I make this go at the bottom center like this is the issue that's happening. And it would not be possible to make it 100% because it's a background. It does not take any space in like the area. It does not move other widgets, and it gets behind this. So if I just remove the color, you could see it's behind this. So obviously what I used to do is I used to just go in this one, make this 0, and then add the image widget around here, which has like responsive hidden on desktop, and then basically just have this. But this gives like second issue, which is you have to, if you wish to change any image, you will have to do twice. So if you have to change here, and then you have to change here. It's not optimal, and also it increases the page size because we are using 2 widgets or an extra widget. So here's what I came up with, which is like much more easier. And to explain to you guys, we will need to use some mathematics. So it's simple maths, so don't worry. Even if you're not a genius at mathematics, you could simply just follow along and you will understand what I'm doing. So this is a quick maths that we are going to do, very simple mathematics. If you don't understand it, you don't need to worry, because at the end of the video I'll show you what you just need to change to match it. Like you have to change just 2 values to match it to your requirement. But for people who want to understand, you need to understand this thing. And I'm trying to go as quick as possible to not make this video like, you know, annoyingly big. So for my example, I am using this one, which is 1500 pixels. Okay, so this is my box width, which is set around here. So this is the one that I'm using. It could be anything for you, so I'll show you how you can change it for your. And then we know that I'm using, for this tutorial, I'm using like this one being like 60% and this much being 40%. Now obviously, because 60 plus 40 is 100, so our whole screen size, if you check that our whole screen size is always going to be 100%. So this is quick, easy maths. Okay, no need to worry if you're like weak in mathematics. So this is our 100%. So obviously 60 and 40. So obviously we don't need to change anything around here. But you know what we could do is, if we want to get this much space, what we can basically do is we could say that from 40%, which is this much, from 40%, which is from like left edge to the screen to this much, we just need to delete this much area. And we should, because if we delete this much, we will get this area. Okay, and again, like, you don't need to worry, it will be automatically done. You will not need to calculate it every single time with the text that I'm going to give you. And you don't need Elementor Pro for this. You just need like normal Elementor. So here's what we will do. Okay, let me explain to you for people who didn't understand quickly. So if I make this is 40%, and then the left area, which is this much, you could see this area. If we delete it from this much, you could see that we get what our size should be, and it is perfectly to 1500 pixels. So how do we calculate that? And it's very simple to do. So let me just hide all of this text. So what we could basically do to like do or find a size for this is basically delete this much area, right? But we don't know what this much area is. So what we will do is we will do 100%, which is this much, minus our box width, which is 1500 pixels. It would be different for you if you're using anything else. But if we do minus this much, we get this plus this, right? And obviously this and this would be equal no matter what you do. So if I removed, so if we do 100% minus 1500 pixels, just ignore my handwriting, I'm using mouse to do that. Which is basically, you know, like adding a solid color. And I know I'm doing like lots of this colored area, but this is for people who are not able to understand it easily. So basically, if I delete the 1500 pixels, which is this one, from 100%, like this, if I delete this, you could see that we get the green area, which is left and right. And obviously these two will always be same. So with this formula, which is 100% minus 1500 pixels, we are getting this two. But if we just want one of it, right? So all we need to do is divide this by 2. So like this. So if we add it in bracket and do divide by 2, we could do this, right? We got our 100% minus 1500 pixels by 2, which is this much area. And like, remember what I said, we just need to do like this minus this much area, and we know this is 40% because that's what I've chosen, and you could choose anything that you want here, minus this formula. So let's quickly add this to our add this to our example. Okay, quickly. So I'm going to add 2 columns, make this full width. Let's make this like a random color. You don't need to do any color, you just need to like do any text and all, whichever you prefer. I'm doing 40, and I'll show you with different values too. It doesn't matter, it's not like very hard, it just takes like 1 second to change it to like different values. Here I will add an image widget like this. Gallery, let's go. So you can see I added an image, and if I just make it full, you could see it's not working perfectly, because what we need to do is we need to set this to have width of 100%. And also there's a bug in this, and I'll show you how to fix that. And obviously there's like a default padding. If you make it 0, you can see the padding is removed. Same with this. So now we got this to this, but we don't want this much, like, right? So in this one, which is 40%, many people don't know, but if you go into this pen icon, you could add your own stuff. So what we are going to do is we're going to type calculate, right? We will do calculate, which is 40%, minus, we need to minus this much, which is like this much area. So I'll add a bracket, another 100% minus whichever your box width is, which is 1500 pixels for me, divide by 2, and then close the bracket. Okay, so you cannot have like a space in here. I didn't know that, but basically between calculate and this, don't add any space, and then it would work. And you could see if I just make the screen bigger, it's not completely working. But if I just go into my container and click on end, you could see it's in here. And if I just duplicate this one, and if I just make this go at the top like this, you can see it's still not working, because now we need to just do the justify to this area. And obviously if I go into my tablet portrait, you could just make it be like this, and obviously make this to percentage. But I want to showcase a bug too that happens, bug which is happening currently. I don't know if it will be fixed, but basically if you go into the top one, you would say it's not doing the bug, but here it's doing that. And the fix that the Elementor set to is to keep it to no wrap like this, and then keep this one to no wrap. But I'm not sure why it's not fixing, because they did it for this one. So you could see that in this one it is working perfectly fine, and they have done the same steps, like they did no wrap, and then they did no wrap. Maybe we have to do it for this one. Let's try this. Okay, so you need to make this container have no wrap, and then you could see this bug will be fixed. And that's the one issue that I was facing. And then I called Elementor Pro team, and then they did this. This is the code that we are using, or just text, and it's quite easy to fix. This one is what size you are using, okay, what container size you want, and this one is the box width that you want, and that's all you need to do, like nothing else. You just need to change this, like this value and then this value. So let's say if I wanted this one to be like 40%, and then this one I want to be like 60%. So I'll just do 60, and then you could say it's working perfectly fine. Or if I just want this to be like 20, all I need to do is change this to like 20, and then change this to like 80, and you could say it's just working. And if you're using any other size, so for example if you're using 1300 pixels, so I'll do 1300 pixels, and it would make it to like 1300 pixels. Let's make this like 50, and then let's make this to 50, and then you got your container. If I just add the color, make this 1300 pixels, 300, this one 300. You could see it is perfectly 1300 pixels. And if you are still confused if it's yes or not, let's refresh on the live page. And guess what? No matter what you do, it will be 1300 pixels. And you could see the bug is happening around here, and that's quite easy to fix. All you need to do is go here, select no wrap. Let's update it, refresh it. And you can see it's fixed. Obviously there's no content in it, so it's showing like one line, but once you add a content or height, it will just work. Yeah, pretty easy.